Hi guys, welcome to Doodlin Time with Lisa Harrison, me, the Doodlin Room. Today we're going to be drawing this germ. So what you're going to need is a blank sheet of paper, a pencil with an eraser, and something to color with at the end. It can be anything you want, pencils, markers, crayons, colored pencils. I think I already said pencils, but go get your stuff. Here we go. Alright guys, I'm going to take my paper and it is going to be landscape. Landscape is this way, okay? So if you had your paper turned this way, this is portrait style, okay? So either vertical portrait style or landscape horizontal like the sunset. So what we're going to be doing today is the germ. So how you start out with this germ is I want you to take your pencil and I want you to start, his top of his head is going to be about right here, so that way you have enough room for his antennae, okay? So what you're going to do is come around here, kind of come in, come back out, and around, and connect that, okay? So be real careful when you're connecting. You don't have a real hard connecting line, okay? So yours can be different. Mine's different. It's not quite the same shape as the other one. So they're going to be a little bit different. Everybody's is always different, so that's okay. So don't worry if it doesn't look exactly like mine or your neighbor's or the teacher's, okay? Because maybe she or he is coloring with you. So let's start now with their eyes. I'm going to make a circle and leave it open just a little bit. Now if you had your pencil and you went ahead and made your circle, you could always erase the lines you don't need. But where I have a Sharpie, there's no way we're going to be able to erase that. So there's my second one. I am going to connect the bottom. Here we are now, and I'm going to put the little nostrils. So mine, you kind of come like this, and you go up, connect it, and you come back down, and whoop! Ta-da! Now you've got nostrils. Nostrils. Okay, here's his mouth. He's got a really big swoopty mouth. So you come around and come back up. He's got a big old grin, and then he's going to come. You're going to come down like this, and then you're going to take the other part and come around. So if I'm going too fast for you and you need extra time, you can always raise your hand and ask your teacher if you can pause it, or maybe they can go ahead and just give you a few minutes to catch up, okay? If they notice that you guys are a little bit behind the video. So that's okay. You can always pause it and start it back. Here we go. I'm going to put mine with some teeth. You do not have to have teeth in yours. I've got buck teeth. So to finish off my eyes, I'm going to put a big eyeball and then my other eyeball, but I'm going to kind of have him going, he's looking out like this because he's a germ. His eyes don't go in the right directions. So now for his little highlights in his eyes, I'm going to draw these little bubbles there. Let's go finish his antennae. Now you're going to swoop like this. And you're going to come around like that. Now don't do it too far in, because what we got to do now is we got to kind of come back around and try to stay about the same distance apart from your other one. That way his antennae does not look kind of wonky. See, I'm making it smaller as I get to the edge. You can do that too. Now come around and attach it. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to move my hand though. And here we go. marker squeaks. Does your marker squeak? And there's his antennae. There we go. So now what we need to do is we need to fill in his eyes. So something that you need to remember when you're coloring with markers or colored pencils or crayons or anything like that, even just a pencil with shading, you want to try to go in the same direction. You don't want to go all wonky and crazy, because then it doesn't fill it in right, and it just looks kind of crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filling it in around the bubbles. See, I'm going in one direction. That helps your final product, okay? So easy does it. And then I'm going to go over here and fill him in. Just like that. So we're also going to show you how to do some line work here. What I mean by line work, it makes it look a little bit more interesting. When you have thicker lines and thinner lines. So what we're going to do now is we're going to learn a little bit about, like if we had a light source coming in, a lot of times I make my light sources come from the right. So if my light was coming in from the right, this is my right. So I would make my lines thicker on this side. So I'm going to take, instead of drawing straight up and down, I'm going to take the side of my marker or your pencil or whatever you're drawing with, and I'm going to come around and thicken this up, okay? I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. So that kind of gives it like, it's almost like a shadow drawn in already onto our germ. And I'm trying to make my lines somewhat even. And then once it comes around, we're going to fade that line back in to make it get skinny again. See? And the same thing with the eyes. I'm going to come around. Okay, it's getting thicker here. And I may even have to fill that in. See right there? I just have to take my Sharpie and go in and fill that in. And same thing here. Make it just a smidge thicker. That way it gives it a little bit of a shadow in your line. I'm going to do my nostrils the same way. Nostrils. What a weird word. Nose holes, nostrils. I don't care what you call them. And then here, we want our smile to kind of gradually go in there and fade into his lips. And then I'm going to color the inside of his mouth black. You can do whatever, but it just makes it look nice. Come look around and finish it out. There we go. Now, if you want to, what we can do is we can put some spots on the top of his head. He is a germ. It's kind of gross and weird, so he's got these like warts or moles or I don't know, weird things coming on his head. So I kind of take him around, if you notice. Like some of them, you don't see the whole circle because it's going to round to the other side of his head. So it kind of creates like a depth. So it's shooting back off of, the back part of his head. All right. So now that we have, oh, you know what we need? We need feet. So I decided to go with some kind of frog looking feet because for some reason germs seem like they should have froggy feet. There. You can even do the same thing with your line work, okay? Thicker, thin. Thicker, thin. Thicker, thin. Okay? Same thing. Thicker, whoa, move my paper. Thin. thicker. And now the thick part here. Ta-da. If you want to follow it, the same principle around your antennae, you can. But I think what we're going to do is go ahead and move on to coloring it. Okay, so I'm going to use colored pencils today. I've decided I want to do my Germ green. And I think I want to do my spots orange. So you get whatever you decide to use. I'm going to go ahead and start coloring. And what did I say about you when you color something in? You go in the same direction. Yes, same direction. And I don't have to push super hard. So I can just go lightly on here. Color him in. And the good thing with this Sharpie is I can go over top of the black and it's not going to hurt anything. You won't be able to see it. So when I'm coming up on my colored pencil that I've already colored on, I go real lightly and just kind of blend that in. That way I don't have a harsh line. Because sometimes you notice, like if you've already colored on something and you color back over top of it, you have this place where you can see you've colored twice. So if you're coming up on a part that you've already colored, just do it real lightly. And then you don't have that transition line. Here we go. So just fill in all of the germ skin. It's kind of gross, germ skin. I would say he's kind of mucusy. I would think. If you were to touch a germ. I don't know. So come around. So once I fill all of my germ in, I may go back and make some darker areas around the darker part of the lines, just to give some shading. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just simply color your germ in. You do not have to add shading. But I will give you some tips for that with these colored pencils. Markers, it's hard to do shading because it's just you have the ink in it, and it just, you can't really let up. Or with pencils you can do a light color, or you can press harder and make your colored pencil or your crayon darker. Markers kind of aren't like that. You either get the color or you don't get the color. So here I'm going to put that down and I'm going to color my germ's lip. So I'm going the other way with my lip color. No particular reason, just am. And I'm going to color his spots orange. A lot of times with colored pencils, what you have to do is you have to kind of go in circles, little tiny circles, kind of the same way as, well, when you're brushing your teeth, little tiny circles. Same thing, there you go. But as long as you're going in the same direction, that's key, right? That's key. So his feet, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do those in orange. It's very important when you're coloring something to think of the color scheme. That way, if you've got two pieces side by side, if you want something to stand out, if you do them in different color, if you do them in complementary colors, they'll stand out better. So I'm going to go in and color his antennae orange as well. So I wonder what color you guys are choosing today. I wish I was there so I could see. Maybe you can send me pictures. Have your teacher send me, email me some of your pictures, and maybe I can feature some of them with your class, okay? If you would like to email me your pictures, my email is lharrison1311@gmail.com. That way I can see and let me know where your school's from and what grade level you're in, okay? That would be great. You don't have to take pictures with your artwork, but you can always send me pictures of your artwork. Here we go. Alright guys, coming up on our last one. I'm shaking my desk. It's like wobbling. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Yeesh. Sometimes that happens. I'm also sitting on my leg and it is asleep. Are y'all sitting on your leg? Because I am. My leg's asleep. If I would stand up right now, I'd probably fall on the floor. Lordy be. Alright. Coming around. Coming around, coming around, coming around. So, what you have learned today is how to draw. You've actually learned what portrait and landscape mean. You have learned, now can you say it? What is portrait? How does the portrait look? Let me finish this out. So if you guys are finished, what does portrait mean? How does your paper fall? It's up and down, right? Landscape is like this. So you've learned that today. You've also learned how to do some line work. Like if you have a light source coming this way, you make your line thicker away from where the sun's shining, where the shadow might be falling, thinner where the sun's coming in. We learned how to color. How are you supposed to color when you're using your color pencils, your crayons, or just a graphite pencil? You're supposed to do it all in one direction. And here's one little thing I was going to show you. So if you wanted to make it a little bit darker for some shadowing, you just press a little bit harder and you go in some small circles around the part where the sun is away, where this part would be where the sun's not directly on his body. And under his lip, he would have a shadow. So if you want to add this, if you have extra time today, or if you have extra time another day and your teacher says, yeah, you can pull out your germs. Not the real kind. Go wash your hands. Use the Germ-X. But do this around his eyes. He's got bags under his eyes. He's not been sleeping. He's sick. And for you boys, you might even want to do like, well, you could put a booger. He's got a booger. Gross, right? Girls. A little shadow here. A little shadow here. Because the sun won't be here. There. Alright, guys. There's a little bit of shading on our germ, okay? I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you tune in next time. Thanks, guys. Have fun doodling. Bye.